Introducing Oakley Meta Vanguard, the new performance AI glasses designed for athletes. With hands-free capture on an action-ready ultra-wide camera, powerful open-ear speakers, and built-in Meta AI that syncs with your Garmin devices for real-time insights while you train. Take your performance to the next level with Oakley Meta Vanguard. Athletic intelligence is here. Learn more on meta.com.
Did my card go through?
Oh no.
Your small business depends on its internet, so switch to Verizon Business. And you could get LTE business internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data for unlimited business.
There we go.
Get the internet you need at the price you want. Verizon Business. Starting price for LTE business internet, 25 megabits per second unlimited data plan with select Verizon Business smartphone plan savings. Terms apply.
Welcome back to another episode of Game Planning Tips. Each week, we bring you ideas from coaches who are masters of preparation, ideas you can fold into your own process as you build the week ahead. Today's episode, presented by Lawrence First and Goal Foundation, highlights 3 coaches who understand how details create confidence in every phase of the game. On defense, John Luce shares how his Cover 6 toolbox moves stress and simplifies adjustments. On offense, Matt Drinkall explains how he builds RPOs the right way, shorter, faster, and simpler. And on special teams, Pete Lembo shows why head coach investment is the foundation for elite special teams performance. Let's jump into this week's tips. We start on defense with John Luce, associate head coach and safeties coach at Army West Point. Coach Luce begins with a message that applies beyond his scheme. You can't take stress out of the defense, but you can move it. His Cover 6 toolbox gives players clear rules for field and boundary alignments while allowing the staff to shift stress from corners to safeties to linebackers based on formations and situation. It's flexible, it's teachable, and it's ideal for high school coaches working with wider hashes and limited practice time. Here's Coach Luce on building a defensive toolbox with Cover 6 concepts.
All right, thank you. I'm going to do something a little bit different than everybody else because Lauren is my daughter. And I really just want to explain what it is real briefly. It started out as a camp in 2004 and mushroomed into the biggest camp in the country. We had 2,000 to 2,100 campers every year. And then when COVID hit, Coach Keith Grabowski reached out to us. He had actually volunteered at one of our camps or a couple of those camps. And said, hey, what do you think about doing a virtual coaches clinic? So this is our 5th year doing it. And Lauren is our daughter who just turned 28 years old the other day. And, she was a little kid when we started this. But every dollar that we raise, right, we have really just 2 expenses anymore. One is an accounting that we have to do for tax purposes. And 2, we have to pay a $100 fee to the state of Pennsylvania for running a charity. And that's it. So everyone volunteers. So over the years, I just want to thank all the people that do it. I mean, we had over 30,000 campers during those years. Many of the speakers that you hear, that you've heard the last few days, it's unbelievable how many have reached out to me and say, I went to those camps when I was in high school, which is amazing. We had over 3,000 coaches volunteer at those camps. Many of them have spoke at these clinics now. And after today, we'll have over 600 courses that will be eventually courses in CoachTube. So just want to thank all the people out there. But our mission is to raise money for pediatric brain tumor research and cancer services. And we don't think there's another foundation like it in the world. I mean, after those couple expenses that we have, every dollar that we receive goes to pediatric brain tumor research and cancer services. So we help families get back on their feet. We fund 3 major research hospitals, and we do a lot of great things with this money. So I just want to thank all the coaches out there, and in particular Keith Grabowski, and all the things he's done, hooking us up with this. And I mean, I know what a grind it is, and Justin, you and all the people that have helped us out to moderate these. And also Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't say Coach Koo. I mean, he's got a great site out there, and I put it on our Twitter, but Keith Grabowski does a tremendous job with his podcast. I mean, you need to follow those people. So, but anyway, that's really what it is. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things, but we've raised $3.1 million, which is almost enough to purchase a quarterback for a year in some of these big conferences. So I hope that, if you are listening, and we're trying to get everybody to purchase this, and there's other ways to help out if you just go to our website, which I'm going to click on that right now. And our website is right here, lfgf.org. Please follow us on Twitter at LFG Football Camp. But again, this states exactly what it is, and I hope you'll check us out after you watch the clinic. Just real briefly, these are a couple slides. Coach Nate Woody's our defensive coordinator and did a tremendous job and does a tremendous job here. And I just show you, we went undefeated and won the American Conference this year in our first year, and just where we stacked up in a bunch of different categories and where we stacked up, nationally. So, he's done a great job. Our kids do a great job. And, it all comes down to fighting off blocks and tackling and creating turnovers and not giving up big plays. But I'm going to hammer on some schematic stuff today a little bit. The clinic is really this. The corners are always isolated in so many coverages, and you have to do things to me in football to take off the stress. And you move the stress around. Sometimes it's on your safety, sometimes it's on your corner, sometimes it's on your Sam backer, sometimes it's the Willie backer. I mean, you need to move around stress. That's a big portion of football and making it hard for the offensive coordinator and the quarterback to find. So I'm going to show you some coverages, and if I get far enough, I'm going to show you some blitzes where I'm taking stress off the corners. Sometimes one, sometimes both. Right. So the first thing I would say is this: if I'm a high school coach, the hashes are wider, the throw over here to the boundary is shorter. So I would, without question, have some version of a cover six. So I'm going to show you and talk to you two versions of it, two different ways to do it when I really get into film. And I'm going to try to get through as many clips as I can. But over here, I'm not going to focus a ton on the quarters aspect of it, but we're playing quarters. So it's quarters. There's different tools that you can use there. I'm going to more focus on the boundary side of it in this particular diagram, right? So this is a four-man rush, right? And in our base way to do it, we'll probably keep the Sam in the fit regardless of where the back is, right? As long as there's only two receivers in this thing. And then we'll try to keep our corner out of the fit so we can get a great reroute and funnel, right? If we push them out, we push them out. We want to get this guy rerouted if it's here. And then we can go ahead and put our butt to the sideline and sync with quarterback vision. The safety is going to check quarterback to one, back to quarterback to see what kind of width he has, but depth is our friend. And if we keep the Sam in the fit, then we don't need this corner in the fit, all right? And we will never need him really in the fit in that particular picture, all right? Same thing with this here now. Now, there's different ways to do this portion of it. When I was a younger coach and defensive coordinator at Lafayette, I really was a curl defender. I taught it like, hey, this is the 4 side and this is the 2 side, right? And I got in some problems sometimes with the play action and a bend of number 2. So we're much more of our vision's trying to be back, but we're going to have to wall carry. We're going to have to wall carry that number 2. And if we do a great job, we can still react to the run and see that. And I think it's even more critical now with the Twins if we get a hit. Some people will just check the quarters over here. But for me, if I'm going to protect the corner, I want to protect the corner. You're not going to get me in a formation where I can't still protect this corner on this short throw and make it hard on the offense, right? And again, the Sam in that picture's in the fit, okay? In this here, once we get to a 3-by-1, we can still do the same thing. Now, Mike's going to have to control 3 at this point, which I think is easy to do, and hopefully we'll get some overlap by the free safety. Because, again, we're looking quarterback to 1, back to quarterback. So I always taught them when I was coaching safeties all those years, hey, receivers early, quarterback late. I want to get a break like a center fielder in baseball, right? And again, I'm not going to focus a lot on the quarters aspect over here, right, to the field, all right? Now, in this is where you got to start to decide how you want to put this together. If I'm going to keep the corner out of the fit and make him a real reroute Tampa type 2 defender versus 3-by-1, then the backer has this gap. He's got this gap. So the Sam has to take this gap. Well, you can't ask the Mike backer, right, play action, whether there's a pull or not, to be able to handle that vertical by the tight end. So we're going to make a call, and I'm not going to give away all my calls today, but we're going to make a call to take the stress off the Mike backer, where he's got to kind of hold in concrete, get a little bit deeper, and be able to help if there's play action. If there's not play action and he just blocks, then the Mike linebacker will be able to handle that, right? Now, obviously, if he's tied into this fit, these kind of plays on the RPOs are going to put a little bit more stress to the field. But again, we're taking off the stress to the boundary. We got to add it somewhere, right? So we've helped ourselves here. We've minused ourselves here. The other way to do it, though, is depending on what the set is. With this set, I can go ahead and crank them under if it's a zone play, which you get a lot of that. And I can put the corner in the fit when he sees it's run. Puts a little bit more stress on the safety because we're not going to get a hit, but it completely takes it off the Sam backer because now they can play more cut fits, right? Because we're going to eliminate these gaps. So now we can keep them out here and help out with our quarters. So I would do both of those things if I could, and all you have to do is tag it.
Just as Coach Lou simplifies the stress for his defense, our offensive guest focuses on simplifying the picture for the quarterback. Matt Drinkall, head coach at Central Michigan, is one of the clearest teachers of RPO football you'll find. His approach centers on one filter: shorter, faster, simpler. Instead of collecting tags or stacking layers of reads, he teaches RPOs that fit the identity of the offense and let players execute at full speed. Here's Coach Drinkall on RPOs the right way: defined, packaged, and built for execution.
So implementing these things, the negatives. Okay, QBs can become throw happy. I just watched on YouTube the other day, Coach Sarkisian talking about this, but like the more you give option wise to the quarterbacks, the more they're going to throw it. Once you start tagging stuff, especially down the field, the quarterbacks, it's inherent nature. It's like I think about it like this. If you played basketball and your coach said, "Hey, you've got the green light to take a three every time you're open," I would be open all the time. I would just find myself, I just happen to be open, I just rain threes. Now I miss, but I'd shoot the hell out of them. Okay, so that's the biggest thing is when you're tagging them, man, they're going to think you want them to throw it. Bad runs usually pick you up 2-3 yards, something, while an incomplete and an RPO is 0. And it's the easiest thing to add too much. So what I would tell you is do a bunch of the stuff you're good at. The way you're going to execute something is way better than scheme itself. Okay, designing and game planning it, just understand you can't run everything. I made this mistake one spring. Just, you can't run everything. There's too much good stuff out there. It's impossible. I think if you can do everything as far as coaching and teaching points to make everything SFS, I talk about this in every clinic talk I give, just shorter, faster, simpler. There's no offense out there right now that's doing those 3 things and not scoring points. They all do it. I think it's incredibly difficult to outsmart opposing coaches. There's too many good, smart coaches out there, everywhere. So I think it gives you an out as far as you're able to steal the look that the best possible way for you to advance the ball. And really, that's what I talk to the quarterbacks about. That John Stockton is in the Hall of Fame because Karl Malone was good at basketball. Let your quarterback distribute the ball to the people that are good with the ball. Okay, so again, you can, to me, you can utilize it in every part of your entire offense. These can be built in with personnel groups, formations, different rhythms and tempos. You can shift in motion with them. It's an awesome thing to do. Okay, I think that's one of the things that Alabama does maybe the best job I've ever seen ever. I know they have good players, but I think there's a lot of times where coaches just go, "Oh, well, they got all the best players. Of course, all that works." But that's part of it. But everywhere that has good players gains yards and scores points. They do such a great job of pre-snap movement. And really in the last probably 15 years since I've been really trying to study as much as I can of blending the best parts of pro style offense and college offense together. But the way they use misdirection and pre-snap movement, they do it better than anybody ever, I think. The benefits of the RPOs. Okay, so you got bad parts, you got good parts. They hide splits in formation. You can pull defenders out of the box. It screws up run fits. They are extremely effective and very low maintenance. Easy reads for the quarterback. Most of the time, they can be even determine where the ball is going before the ball's even snapped. It's a nightmare on defenses. And a lack of execution on a throw is It's only a 0, not a fumble. All this stuff's going forward. So, and it's the best play action there is on the market because you're actually doing it. So this is, if you're an old school O-line guy, I like to touch base on this just because this is the hardest thing to get over. Okay. Like, you can get your numbers after the game and have 480 yards of offense and score 47 points and end the game with 165 yards rushing. And you go, oh my God, we only ran for 165 yards, but your quarterback threw for, 340. And you go, oh, we're throwing it too much. Well, anything that the O-line is actually blocking a run play, count it. I promise you, if we play Navy next year and we call midline triple on 3rd and 1 because we think we're going to pump the fullback and go, if we pull it and pitch it and gain 21, Coach Monken will not be upset at us. That's a good thing for us. So it's the same concept. It's just overhanded. So it's the hardest thing to get over. Who cares what it's labeled as far as a stat? If you've called a run, who cares where it goes? Okay, ball distribution, getting the ball out to your best players. And to me, that's the biggest thing is what is the best way to use your 11 guys? Let your players do what they do well. Let the linemen block and the skill kids catch and run. So this clip is great. If you look at this slot receiver running a bubble, okay, this is a skill kid who's not a great blocker. There's a safety who's supposed to be running the alley and run fitting, but because of the RPO, he has to run himself 15 yards out of the play and is late to the run fit. So to me, if you look at it from this angle, there's the safety who should be sitting down there, but I have a 170-pound kid that's fast that's pulling him away 15 yards away from where we're handing the ball. That's the best block there is. And he's the worst blocker that we got. So to me, that is an incredibly valuable piece of RPOs.
We finish up with special teams, and this week's guest takes us into the structure that holds elite programs together. Pete Lembo, now the head coach at the University of Buffalo, built his career as one of the most respected special teams coordinators in the country. His message is simple and powerful. Special teams excellence starts at the top. When the head coach is visible, engaged, and using shared language across the program, special teams stop being a transition period and become a competitive advantage. Here's Coach Lembo on building elite special teams through organization and top-down support.
All right, one of the keys to having great special teams, and I'd like to think and hope that I was this way for all those years that I was a head coach, and certainly been fortunate now going into year 6 of being a special teams coordinator at the FBS level. I do think it's really, really important that you have the support from the top. And if you're watching this clinic today and you're a special teams coordinator at the high school level or the college level, I think it's so important that you take the time to get on the same page with your head coach to try to urge him to be involved. And I felt like it made me a better head coach approaching things this way. I felt like it gave me a chance to connect with almost every player on the team, whether that was coaching the backside of the kickoff return team or the right side of the punt team or a couple guys on the punt return unit that week, whatever my assignment was as a head coach, or at least knowing what all the different facets and schemes and techniques were within our special teams. It allowed me to bounce around and coach different pods and different pockets and really stay connected with the kids that we had in the program. I thought it allowed us to really pull together all 3 phases of the game during game week. You may have a fake punt in or some kind of surprise onside kick. Well, most times, right, it's going to go through the head coach before those things actually get called in a game. And I always felt like I knew as a head coach whether or not we were going to need to use those things on game day when I was able to pull together the needs of the offense, the expectations of the defense, what all 3 phases were up against that week. I felt like our involvement from a special team standpoint was going to be greater and perhaps more impactful, right, when the head coach knows exactly what's going on. And then lastly, I just think getting back to the culture piece, all right, when the head coach can refer to special teams, recognize players, allow you to use certain guys. Everywhere I've been, the best players on the team regardless of how much they're playing on offense and defense, are going to be on the punt team because it's just that important. So again, the support from the top is really a big deal. And one other thing I don't mention on here, but I do think if I ever go back and have an opportunity to be a head coach again, I think just the similar terminology that you can use on special teams and how that might carry over to offense and defense in terms of your fundamentals, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. I think that's really important too in terms of streamlining things for your players.
3 coaches, 3 messages with one common theme: clarity creates speed. Move stress with the structure on defense, make RPOs shorter, faster, and simpler on offense, and organize special teams from the top down to unify your program. Championship performance starts with championship preparation. This episode of Game Planning Tips is presented by Lawrence First and Goal Foundation, supporting pediatric brain tumor research and families affected by cancer. To donate, learn more, or register for this year's clinics, visit lawrencefirstandgoal.org. Thanks for listening, and best of luck as you build your plan for the week ahead.
We're proud to partner with the best companies that serve coaches. For your in-game analytics, go to modernfootball.com. When you win it all this year, Signature Championship Rings provides you a great design within your budget. Use Story of the Season for a modern version of the media guide and a way to raise $20,000 to $40,000 for your program. Go to storyoftheseason.com. Sideline communication is critical. Our partner, the Headset app, has figured out how to do that at a fraction of the cost. Check out what they do at theheadsetapp.com. Go Route offers you a way to call plays in games now if you're in Texas. And Gridiron Scout is the premier way to get plays into practice and eliminate scout cards. Check it out at goroute.com. And finally, Titan Sensors gives you the analytics you need for your players on player development and understanding their physical needs. Check out all of our sponsors and our content at coachandcoordinator.com.